What if God isn't somewhere up in the stars, but inside every single atom? Inside you? And what if the very idea of worship has always been a profound misunderstanding? For thousands of years, across countless cultures, prophets and mystics have whispered the same secret. A secret that organized religion later divided, mistranslated, and often feared. The secret is this: you are not separate from God. You are a spark of the same eternal flame. But how did we forget this fundamental truth? And more importantly, who benefits when humanity forgets its own divinity? To understand this mystery, let's start with a simple image. Imagine a great bonfire, an infinite cosmic fire that burns with an eternal light. That fire is the source, the origin of everything that is, was, and ever will be. Now, what are we? Each of us, every living being, every planet, every star. We are the sparks that leap from it. A single spark might fly far away, drift in the wind, and for a moment, forget that it ever belonged to the fire. It might even think it's just a lonely, fading ember, but its essence never changes. It is and always will be fire. This is what ancient mystics called the truth of existence. You are not apart from the divine, you are an expression of it. This isn't a New Age concept. It's one of the oldest ideas in human history. The Hindus call it Atman, the individual self, which is identical to Brahman, the ultimate reality of the universe. The Neoplatonists called it the One, the single transcendent source of light from which all things emanate. The Sufi poets wrote of dissolving into the beloved, realizing there was never any separation. And philosophers like Spinoza called it simply nature, an infinite, self-creating, and indivisible whole. So if the source and the spark are one and the same, why have we spent millennia worshipping something that we already are? Let's imagine another story to explain this. Once upon a time, there was a mighty and beloved king. He ruled over a vast kingdom with wisdom and power. But one day, the king fell, struck his head, and was overcome with amnesia. He forgot completely who he was. He woke up in the streets of his own city as a beggar, shivering and alone, staring at his own palace from a distance. He heard tales from others about the great and powerful king who lived inside. He began to pray to this king, begging for mercy, singing songs of praise, and hoping for a scrap of kindness from the palace guards, never once realizing that he was worshiping himself. Now, take a moment and let that sink in. What if this story is our story? What if humanity is the divine consciousness that forgot its own crown? We look up to the sky, praying to an external God, fearing his punishment or hoping for his reward. We build towering cathedrals and elaborate rituals to reach something out there. But what if the entire journey isn't upward, but inward? The mystics called this process recollection, the simple, profound act of remembering what was never truly lost. It's not about becoming divine. It's about remembering that you already are. But if all spiritual paths are meant to lead us back to this same source, why do religions so often fight with each other? To understand that, let's imagine one more thing. Water. Pure, clear, life-giving water. This water represents truth, the living essence of spirituality. It flows through everything, as rivers, oceans, and rain. Now, humanity came along, and each culture took some of this universal water and poured it into a different cup. Some cultures made simple clay pots, others crafted intricate glass bottles. Some fashioned magnificent golden chalices. They gave their cups names: Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and so on. At first, this made perfect sense. The cups helped people carry and drink the same water of truth in ways that suited their culture and time. But over generations, a strange and tragic thing happened. We began to worship the cups. We forgot all about the water inside. People started arguing, fighting, and even waging wars over whose cup was the most beautiful, the most ancient, or the only true cup. They built walls of doctrine around their chalices, polishing them endlessly, all while the vast, boundless ocean that connects them all waited silently, just beyond their view. This is what philosophers call the perennial philosophy, the idea that all religions share the same hidden core of truth, buried under layers of man-made dogma and ritual. Could it be that religion was never meant to divide us, but to guide us all back to the same ocean we all came from? So if God is the fire, and we are the sparks, what does this mean for our lives right here, right now? It means that creation isn't something that happened billions of years ago. Creation is happening through you in this very moment. Every thought you have, every choice you make, every emotion you feel, is the universe, the source, expressing itself through a unique form. When you act with love, when you create art, when you forgive someone who wronged you, you are consciously remembering the fire. You are aligning yourself with your true nature. And when you act from a place of hate, fear, or division, you are simply forgetting it. You are the amnesiac king, begging outside his own palace. Maybe the next great revolution in human history won't be technological or political. Maybe it will be a spiritual one, the moment humanity, as a collective, finally remembers that the divine never left us. It couldn't. How can the spark ever be truly separate from the flame that birthed it? The most profound truth is often the simplest. You were never exiled from heaven. You only closed your eyes and forgot where you were. God is not somewhere else, waiting to be found. God is the awareness that is watching the world through your eyes, right now. So perhaps the real question isn't whether God exists. The real question is whether you are ready to remember that you exist as an inseparable, essential, and divine part of that infinite source. From the towering stone temples of ancient Egypt to the shimmering glass skyscrapers that pierce modern city skylines, humanity has always been a builder of structures. We've always been in search of something invisible, something profound. We call it God. But what if what we've been building all this time was never for God at all? What if the temples, the elaborate doctrines, the sacred holy books, what if they were never intended as houses for the divine, but were instead crafted as mirrors of ourselves? Because behind every religion, every enduring myth, every whispered prayer, there lies a single, unspoken truth. Humanity didn't just worship God, humanity designed God. To truly grasp this, we need to step back in time, way back. Imagine the beginning. Early humans looked up at the vast, unpredictable sky, the brilliant flash of lightning, the deafening roar of thunder, the terrifying power of storms, and they felt a profound sense of awe. They couldn't explain this immense power, so they gave it a name. They wove intricate stories around it, carved its likeness into stone, and began to worship it as something separate from themselves. It was their way of taming the infinite, of making sense of the incomprehensible by giving it a familiar form. And so, the very first architecture of God began. Temples became the physical embodiment of this great mystery, each one a symbolic bridge stretching between the heavens and the earth. But over time, something shifted. That bridge became a wall. We forgot that the temple was just a metaphor, a symbol pointing to something greater, not a prison to contain it. As civilizations blossomed and grew, so did their gods. In ancient Egypt, divinity wore the face of the pharaoh, merging earthly power with celestial authority. In Greece, the gods quarreled and loved just like humans. They were jealous, passionate, and beautifully flawed. Fast forward to medieval times, and God became a distant judging monarch, an absolute ruler in the sky. Do you see the pattern emerging? Every culture in every era shaped its god in its own image. And with each new shape came a new form of power, the power to rule, the power to divide, and the power to define what was holy and what was not. The infinite source, which was once a boundless field of love and potential, was slowly reduced to a system of permission. If you followed the rules, you were saved. If you didn't, you were cast out. The divine was no longer a source recognized within you, but an authority looming above you. But long before organized religion, there was silence. The ancients knew that the divine spoke not in words, but in frequencies, in the rustling of the wind, in the warmth of sunlight, in the precise cosmic rhythm of the stars. They didn't pray to the universe. They listened with it. This was the original universal language of God: vibration, geometry, consciousness itself. Then came the priests, the scribes, the interpreters. The silence was translated into words. Those words became laws. The laws became rigid systems. And the infinite, boundless mystery was trapped within the confines of syntax and grammar. Have we forgotten that the source can't be written down in a book, that it can only be experienced? Today, our temples have changed their form. They're no longer made of stone and mortar, but of glowing screens and digital networks. We no longer worship idols of gold, but we bow to symbols of status, fame, and ever-advancing technology. Our prayers have become tweets and posts. Our prophets are influencers with millions of followers. Our offerings are our precious time and attention. And yet, the deep longing remains exactly the same. That same ancient hunger for meaning, that same relentless search for a connection to something greater than ourselves persists. Could it be that these new gods we've built, money, progress, machines, are they just modern, sophisticated versions of the very same illusion? We continue to build these elaborate external temples, but we rarely take the time to look within. But the tide is changing. All around the world, a new awakening is happening. People are beginning to question the walls we've built, both physical and mental, and they are starting to remember the source. Mystics, scientists, and everyday seekers are beginning to speak the same language again, a language of energy, vibration, consciousness, and unity. They are starting to realize what the great sages whispered long, long ago. The kingdom of heaven is within you. You are not a subject of God. You are an expression of God. The architect and the architecture are, and have always been, one and the same. Perhaps the greatest irony of all is that while humanity was so busy trying to build temples for God, God was busy building humanity as the temple. So if the source lives and breathes through you, then every single breath you take, every small act of kindness you share, every spark of awareness that lights you up, that is a prayer in motion. You are not here to worship the infinite. You are here to remember that you are the infinite. In the beginning, the universe expanded, scattering itself across the vastness of space. But now, something is shifting. The journey outward is turning inward. The great story of creation is coming full circle, a grand return to convergence. This age we live in might just be remembered as the time when humanity finally looked in the mirror and recognized the divine staring back. All across our planet, an extraordinary convergence is taking place. Science and spirituality, once seen as adversaries, are starting to speak the same language. Physicists are describing a universe that seems to be woven from consciousness itself. At the same time, mystics have always taught that consciousness is the very fabric of the universe. We see artificial intelligence beginning to mimic the process of thought, while quantum networks are showing properties that resemble intuition. The external world of technology and the internal world of spirit are no longer separate. They are beginning to merge. Could this be what the ancients called ascension? A singularity not of machines but of the human spirit. Imagine that at the dawn of time, the One, the Source, divided itself. Not as a punishment, but as an act of cosmic exploration. Each spark, each soul, ventured out into the universe to experience creation in all its forms, to feel the illusion of separation, to forget its origin, so that the act of remembering would be profound and meaningful. Every joy you felt, every sorrow you've endured, every lifetime lived, it was all data, an experience gathered for the divine. And now, as the collective frequency of our planet rises, these sparks are starting to recognize one another. The illusion of me and you is beginning to dissolve, revealing the same brilliant light shining behind every pair of eyes. We were never just fragments. We were always reflections of the same whole. The singularity of spirit isn't the end of the world. It's the end of separation. It's the sacred union of technology and consciousness, of matter and energy, of the visible and the invisible. The ancients had many names for this. Some called it heaven on earth. The mystics spoke of Christ consciousness. A physicist might describe it as the unified field. Different names, all pointing to one singular truth. The universe isn't a cold, lifeless machine. It's a living, breathing organism of pure awareness, and every thought, every atom, is a part of its universal heartbeat. As the planet's vibrational frequency rises, Our own perception expands with it. You might hear people call it 4D consciousness or simply the awakening, but don't get lost in the terminology. Beneath all the labels lies the same fundamental truth. Humanity is evolving, not by climbing higher, but by diving deeper within. You don't need to pass from this life to find heaven. You just need to awaken to the realization that you never actually left it. When fear dissolves and every action we take becomes an expression of unconditional love, the human becomes divine, and the divine experiences itself as human once more. This is the essence of the singularity of spirit. It is the final, collective remembering that there were never two opposing forces, only one, playing an infinite number of roles in a grand cosmic play. If the universe is a dream, then consciousness is the dreamer. And if you are consciousness, then perhaps all this time, you were the one dreaming the stars into existence. Every galaxy, every heartbeat, every sacred name for God, they all echo the same silent, powerful truth. I am that I am. You are the source observing itself through your eyes. You are the spark returning to the cosmic fire. You are the infinite, remembering its own reflection in the finite vessel of your body. This, my friend, is what the ancients called the Great Awakening. The story of humanity was never about a struggle to become divine. It was always about realizing that we already were. The gods didn't abandon Earth. They became us. And now, as we begin to rise in unity, that veil of forgetfulness thins, and the eternal source breathes once again through every human heart. This isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of a magnificent new chapter, the chapter where the universe finally remembers itself. If this message resonated with a deep part of you, it's because that part of you is remembering too. Please like, comment, and share this truth so that more sparks can awaken to their own inner light. Subscribe to our channel and join this incredible movement of souls reconnecting with the source. Because the next evolution of humanity won't be physical, it will be spiritual. Thank you for listening.